Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Nedarim, Samich Aleph number 61. We had a machlokas on daf Samich in the Mishnah between Reb Meir and Reb Yossi. Reb Meir and Reb Yossi have a machlokas. If you say the words ad lifnei ha-pesach, right? You aser something, you take a neder, not to eat Laffy Taffy, is lifnei ad lifnei ha-pesach. If you said, the Mishnah says before that, ad ha-pesach, right, you're only usher until Pesach starts. Say Ad Sheheh Pesach, that means you're usher until Pesach is over. However, if you say Ad Lifnei, what does that mean? So Meir says usher Ad Shehagia, you're only usher until Pesach starts. But he also says, no, you're usher until it's over. So the Gemara says, what is the machlokas in the bottom of Samach Aleph and Aleph? The Gemara says, Meir holds Loma Aylin Ish Nachshil Sveika, a person that doesn't enter himself in the Safek. Ad Lifnei Pesach is an ambiguous language. Right? Ad Shehagia is clear until Pesach starts. Ad Sheheh means generally something which is mano kavu till Pesach is. It means when it's over. Ad Lifnei, until before, it's not clear what he means. So Meir says, a person says an unclear language, ambiguous language. He knows he's saying an ambiguous language. So therefore, he didn't mean to include the ambiguity. He meant to be as makel as possible. And Riosi says a person, when he's saying an ambiguous language, it means, presumably, he included the ambiguity in his neder. The Gemara then asks a question. The Gemara says that really in Riosi's shita. We learn from Sekas Kiddushin, it's actually the opposite. Riosi is the one who's makel. Ambiguity he doesn't include in his language. Right there, it's talking about what he's Makadish, his daughter. Right, there's Namonas and his Dibor over there. It's like a neder. And Remeir is Machmir over there. And the Gemara says, yes, and Kedushin is the right way. And really, our Mishnah had it wrong. It's actually the opposite in our Mishnah. Remeir is the one who's Machmir. It says until Pesach's over. Yossi says until Pesach starts. That's the maskana of the Gemara. So it comes out, Rabbi Yossi is Loma Islandish Navshilasvek. He's Makel. A person, when he speaks words about Neder, Kedushin, he doesn't include ambiguity in his words. Remeir says he is. He does. Now, technically, we're talking about a person. Anyone makes a neder. He says in a language ad lifnei. So, according to most people, that's an ambiguous language. Did he mean it or not? So, why don't we apply safek d'oraisa l'chumra? Right? It's a safek what people mean over here. So, normally we say safek d'oraisa l'chumra. So, it should be aser according to both Reb Meir and Rabbi Yossi. What's the machlokas Reb Meir and Rabbi Yossi? What are they arguing about over here? Why is the Nedarim different? So, as I mentioned many times, the whole machlokas safek d'oraisa l'chumra, that it's midoraisa, right, really only applies, we treat it Dalraisa. Here we're talking about Nedarim, right? We're talking about the neder is effective mean Dalraisa or not. The whole din of Sadraisa L'chumra that's mean Dalraisa basically only applies when you have physical things in front of you, like the case of an asham. You're chayv an asham taloi, when you have one piece of chaylev and one piece of shuman, one piece that's aser, chayv kares for eating, and one piece of fatty meat that's kosher, and you're not sure. It's chazek hisura, the Rambam says. That's why Asham Toli has to be his chazek. It has to be there. It has to be a physical presence, right? It's only subject to Raisa l'chumra when there's a physical presence. Both things are physically present over. You're not sure which one you ate. There, the idea is, the reason we go subject to Raisa l'chumra, the Raisa, is because it's not really 50-50 suffix. Because the Torah believes in Murphy's Law. There's an assumption. It's not a vadai. Murphy's Law is not a vadai, but Murphy's Law is an assumption that what happened was you probably ate the one that's usher. That's why you go l'chumra over there, because it's not a 50-50 suffix, really midoraisa. If it's really 50-50 suffix, we're going to see in a second, really you go l'kula, midoraisa. Only when there's proof, or has an assumption, maybe 75% assumption, or maybe 70% assumption, but it's an assumption that's effective enough for Isurim. Isurim, you can don in Isser once you have 70 to 30%. So, if you have an assumption, actually, sorry, not 70, it's 75%. You need 8 echad, it's an assumption, a chazaka. So therefore, when I have one piece of chaylev over here and one piece of shuman, so therefore, there's an assumption because of Murphy's Law that I ate the wrong one. And that's why, midoraisa, you have to bring an asham tali, you have to bring a korban. The Torah wouldn't be b'chayev chulin azara. But because, even though it's aser, right, bring chulin azara, it's an isser in the Torah. Nonetheless, because of Murphy's Law, we say chazaka, assumption that you ate the wrong one. However, here we're talking about there's no object over here. This is talking about what did the person mean over here. He answered the Laffy Taffies until ad lifnei Pesach. What did he mean? Did he mean including Pesach or not including Pesach? Right? He says in Makadesh his oldest daughter. Did he mean, right, his really oldest daughter, or the oldest of his second wife, right, which is the third oldest daughter, like the Gemara says. So we're not sure what he meant over here. This is in the person's das. It's an abstract, it's in a vacuum, the suffix. Suffix in a vacuum over there. That's a suffix d'oraisa, 50-50 chance. We're not sure what the guy meant. There's no Murphy's Law on something that doesn't exist in the physical world. So that's the way the world works. Gravity, everything goes down, everything goes in the wrong direction. So, but it's not in, it's just in your mind. It's not in the physical realm. It's in a vacuum over there. And it's like space, everything floats over there. So it's 50-50 suffix. And that, midoraisa, a suffix, we don't know what to do. The Torah says, koach de'atera adif. We don't know what to do. Lakula, the Torah says, when I don't know what to do, I'm not sure 50-50. Or even I'm not sure 70-30, because that's not strong enough to say it's a really a suffix ashakul. Even 70%, unless I have 75% an assumption that there's an Isra over here, and certainly 50-50, the Torah says, koach de'atera adif, if you go lakula midoraisa. So therefore, in our Mishnah, right, really, right, it's in a vacuum. So really, midoraisa, right, we would say suffix doraisa lakula, and both according to the main Rabbi Yossi. Adliv Ne'at Pesach should not include Pesach, and that's why the Gemara has to find that our mayor, the end of the Maskana, our mayor is the one ma'ayal inish nafshel sveka. The Gemara has to go in the new Svara. It's because if he just donned it, people ambiguity, did he include it or not? So suffix doraisa lakula in this case, because it's not where there's ischazek hisura. It's not an assumption there's an isra over here. However, Rav Meir has to come onto a svara. That's what the Gemara is saying. Rav Meir has to come on a svara that a person, when he says an ambiguous language, people when they make nedarim or they say kiddushin, when they make people, he's saying a big chiddush about people's das, people's mindset when they're making a neder with ambiguity, is that people generally are machmir on themselves, which is true, right? People, when they say something ambiguity, you ask them afterwards, do you mean to include it? Yeah, probably, I meant to include it or not. It's very hard for a person to say afterwards, no, I didn't, for sure didn't include it, right? A person is very hard. It's much easier to be machmir than to be mekel. People you see all the time, people, when they're besafik, they're machmir upon themselves. So you ask the guy afterwards, did you include it or not? I'm not sure. Probably, yeah, probably I included it. I'm maybe machmir. Very easy to be machmir. Very hard to be mekel. That's another reason why koach de'atera adif. I think the Pnei Yeshua, the Rashi says that someone who's able to be somech, to be mekel, right, he obviously has a lot more clarity in the sugya. He's able to go ahead and assert that you're mekel over here. That takes a lot more conviction than just to say, I'm machmir. Anyone can be a machmir. I'm not sure what to do. I'm machmir, right? Someone who says he's mekel is obviously very sure what he's saying, so I'll probably learn the sugya better and probably can trust him more. So that's why Reb Meir says, in general, people are ma'al inish nafshel sveka. And Reb Yossi says, no. Reb Yossi says, when it comes to the Nedarim also, there's ambiguity. There's ambiguity over here. And you're right, generally people are machmir, but are they machmir enough to assume that, make an assumption 75% that he included? No, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's 70-30 or 50-50, and therefore, something the Raisa, Lakula, Mido, Raisa. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.